Welcome back. Today I'm joined by Sterling Financial, and we have Mr. Oweiler here. Well, Dan, nice to see you. How
Hi,
are
Lisa,
you?
how are you?
Good, good.
Good.
So, we're
Are you staying healthy, by the way?
absolutely.
Did you get your vaccines yet?
Not yet. They just opened it up for our age group. So I will do my registration like
Right.
everybody else has to.
I got my second one a couple of weeks ago, and so now I'm immune against the world, I guess.
Yeah, well, I hope so, right? The jury is out on all of that right now.
Hey, tell me about it. I do it just so my clients will feel comfortable, and a lot of that.
Good. Well, perfect. Well, speaking of your clients, you've got a couple of new investments or old investments, but just kind of shedding some light on the various ones that are available to them.
Well, as I sit down with people and we talk about investment opportunities, everybody wants to have safe principal and high returns. There's, it's the natural desire for everybody to have a high return with no risk, and it's just not possible with one investment. And I actually have put together what I call investment worlds for our money, and there's three types of what I call investment worlds to invest our money in. The first one is called, the world of safety or guarantees. And that's where you have things like CDs or money market accounts, fixed interest annuities where your principal is guaranteed, or those types of things. That's where your principal is going to be safe. You're going to get a little bit of return, but not a whole lot of growth to the principal, just because that's not what it's made to do. It's made to give you feel safe with your investment. Now, what you're going to get probably over the next 12 to 24 months probably isn't very much interest on those types of investments. CDs, maybe you get 1, if we're lucky, 2% right now. Fixed interest annuities, we can probably get 2.5, maybe 2.7 on a 5-year type of program. That's like a 5-year CD, but you're not going to be getting the returns you get in the stock market. Those are set up to be safe, okay?
Right.
And have your principal safe.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, and those have been around for a long time, of course. But like you said, your rate of return is really minuscule.
You're giving up growth for protection of principal. So it's a matter of saying, okay, do I want safe principal and not as much return, or do I want to take a little bit more risk and risk my principal? So it's not a right or wrong answer. It's just that what fits you at this stage in your life. My clients seem to feel like at this stage in their life, they rather give up maybe some of the return to protect their principal. But when interest rates have dropped so much down to, 1 to 2%, that's not very exciting for them, Right. On the other end of the scale, you have what I call the world of potential or growth. You can go into the stock market and have your principal grow, but at the same time, you're going to have exposure to market volatility. And so, it's not right or wrong, but you have two ends of the scale of having the opportunity to grow your principal as opposed to protecting your principal. Right. And that doesn't mean it has to be one or the other. We can split up an investment plan to have both of them. Okay.
Right. Well, right. And that's that's a world that you have in here called the hybrid world, which seems like the most norm for most people. And your rate of return, it is, of course, married to what the market does, but it seems generally about, you say here, between 0 and 10%, but it could also be like 18%.
It could, depending upon how the market does. The nice thing about that third world of what we're talking about, what you mentioned, is the hybrid approach. That includes things like equity-linked CDs where it's tied to the market, or a fixed indexed annuity, those types of things. Your principal is still safe, but you're not going to get all of the upside of the market. You're going to have some limitations as to how much you're going to be able to earn with these types of investments. Now, last year when the market was pretty hot after the COVID drop in March, these types of investments did very well. I have some clients that are renewing their indexed annuity, and they got a 24% return last year.
Wow.
Simply because the market, from the time it dropped, it exploded over that period of time. From April through the next April, it's gone up tremendously. And as a result of that, we kind of hit a home run, and it allows us to have one of those years that doesn't come along very often. But the thing about it is the world of safety, CDs and things like that, and the world of the hybrid approach, your principal is guaranteed, but you're going to give up some of the growth in order to do that. And so my approach has always been, with people that are retired, losing money at this stage in their life is going to affect them much more than a few extra interest rates return, and so they probably ought to be more inclined to the hybrid approach, and maybe a little bit in the for emergency funds and the safety, and then you could have a little bit in the world of growth. And it's a matter of setting up a plan that generates the kind of income that you need, as well as feeling comfortable with the exposure to risk.
Exactly. Can you give me an example of a fixed indexed annuity?
A fixed indexed annuity is an annuity. There's for years and years and years, there used to be a fixed interest annuity or a variable annuity. Mm-hmm. And the variable annuity basically invested in mutual funds that went up and down with the market. A fixed interest annuity is like a CD, where you're going to get a fixed interest for 5 years or whatever it is.
Okay.
Well, 15, 20 years ago, the insurance companies developed what is called a fixed indexed annuity, where your interest is tied to a stock market index like the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones or whatever. You're going to get participation on that, but you're not going to get 100% return. So if the market goes up, say 10%, you're probably going to get half of that, 5%. Okay.
Okay.
And you can participate. Right now, the participation rates run anywhere from 25 to 50%. So if the market goes up 20% and you have a 50% participation, you're going to get a 10% return.
I see. Okay.
The nice thing about that is if the market ever goes down, you don't lose any money. You just don't earn anything that year, but you don't lose any money. So my clients are willing to give up some of the upside to protect them against the downside. And so that's one of the things that can help us still generate and keep it pace with inflation, but it doesn't expose your principal to risk as much as a fully exposed equity investment would, like stocks or mutual funds or real estate or whatever it is.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I mean, like you said, you want to have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you want to set up a plan.
You definitely want to make sure it's a little more secure.
Yeah, your foundation of your financial plan or your income retirement plan should generate enough income for you to live on. And so if you want to put 50% or 75% in that foundation of the safe or hybrid approach, and then have 15 or 25% in the growth, or that generally works for people, that now if you're young like you, 25 years old, that and you're trying to grow your estate, then you want to be more into the growth mode, where you're taking a little bit more risk, but you've got time to ride the markets out. Okay. And so setting up an income plan and investment plan is not just one world or the other. It's a combination of what your risk tolerance would be based upon your needs going forward.
Okay. Now, let me ask you something. So many of our residents have grandchildren and children, of course, but many of them would like to maybe start an investment account for their grandchildren.
Okay.
Now, if they do something like that, is this something that you would do a hybrid, or would you do growth completely?
Well, generally, somebody that has a grandchild, they're probably putting money away for college education. Okay, so if they're 5 years old, you've got 15 years before you're going to need that money. I would probably move more into the growth mode or growth world where you've got more potential, because they have 15 years to ride the markets out.
Right.
Okay. That doesn't mean you get very aggressive. You're not out buying Bitcoin or something like that, but you can still take advantage of the market, because the market, like I said, last year was an unbelievable market, and there's some significant gains that took place from March through the following March, and it was unbelievable.
Right.
But a lot of it depends on the age of the people that we're working with, and what kind of, are we in the growth mode where we're trying to grow our investments and grow our estate, or we're in the protection mode where we're trying to protect what we have and generate a fair return on the money. So it all depends on what stage they're in regards to their overall investment. I have people that are retired, and people, your residents over there, I have people that are still aggressive. They want to be in, they're day traders, well, that's fine, and that's nothing wrong with that. Most of the people, if they have enough money coming in through Social Security, investments, pensions, whatever it might be, they generally don't have to earn more money as much as they do need to protect what they have.
Right. Well, like you said, it varies from person to person, and it's whatever they're comfortable with and their circumstances, for sure.
Well, we sit down and we kind of do what I call a risk analysis. We have a little kind of a computer program where it analyzes what their risk tolerance is. And so we go through that process. Are you willing to risk losing this much in order to make this much? And if they're not, then we kind of reduce that. Well, would you risk this much in order to make that much? And it comes up with what we call a risk analysis number between 1 and 100. And if their risk analysis falls in, let's say 30, they're on the more conservative end of that. But if their portfolio is at 60, that means that they're not aligned with what their risk tolerance is. And so there's an opportunity to really align their risk tolerance with their portfolios. And that's what we do.
Well, that sounds perfect. Now, if somebody was interested in a risk analysis, who do they contact?
Well, they could get in touch with us. We'd be happy to set something up, and we can either, if they're uncomfortable coming, we have people come in the office. We're, CD to C, we wear masks. Other clients come in and they're not worried about it, whatever they're comfortable with, but we'll do a Zoom call, or it's a lot sometimes easier to do it in person, but if they want to do a Zoom call, we can do a Zoom call and be happy to set it up with them.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you for the information. I like the way you've separated out into all these different worlds. That's very easy to understand.
Well, I've got a handout that we can give people if they would like that, and they'd be happy to contact us. I don't know if you've got our number up there, but they can contact us on our website at www.sterling, F as in Frank, A as in Apple.com, sterlingfa.com. Our information is on there that we can be able to set up a time to get with them.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for the information.
Lisa, it's always good to chat with you.
All right, we'll talk soon.
All right, take care.
And we'll be right back after this.